ready? Go. Look at that. It's sold out MetLife Stadium with today. The 16-0 playoff bound New York Giants are taking on the 0-16 Washington Commanders. And why are the Washington Commanders 0-16? Because they suck. They really suck, man. No explanation. The Commanders they just suck. Man, they're terrible. You know, when a team is actually worse than the Giants, man, that's sad. And that's the Washington Commanders. They're freaking horrible. I always feel sorry for those guys. Almost, not quite. Welcome to they suck. They're horrible. Welcome to the anybody out there at all is going to spend a little bit of time here this evening. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching the replay this, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. I'm going to try to go about 30 minutes here tonight, shoot my mouth off for about 30 minutes. Anybody got anything to say, please feel free, fire away, throw it in the chat box. I usually try to check on the chat box like every 5 or 10 minutes or so. So as soon as I see something in there, I try to respond to it as fast as I can. So please feel free and fire away. But plus also, I mean, instead of me just rambling on for half an hour, 45 minutes, or whatever it might wind up being, it's just nice to talk with another Giant fan. So please feel free and fire away. Before we get started, if anybody wants to help support my channel out, it would mean the absolute world to me. In the description box below, the very top link in the description box takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. The first one's called the Saquon, second one's called the Lawrence Taylor, and the third membership level I got is called the Gridiron. Each one has their own little perks to them. So if you want to help support my channel out, it would mean so much to me. And I thank you in advance. If you are subscribed to my channel, once again, thank you. I can use all the support I can get, guys. But if not, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way, next time I go live, or if I put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge, right? What do you got to lose? But if you are subscribed to my channel, thank you, thank you, thank you. And maybe give this video a thumbs up or maybe share it. That'd be freaking awesome. And then finally, also a little ways down in the description box. Yes, a little ways down. There's 2 additional links. Top one's a Facebook link, which I'll go over in just a second. And the one underneath it, it's a Twitter link. I'm an old-time fart. Hate change, right? Can't stand change. Get off my lawn. I'm one of them old-time farts, right? It's a Twitter link. It's always been Twitter. It's Twitter today. It'll be Twitter tomorrow. 300 million quadrillion years from now, it'll still be Twitter because I'm an old-time fart who hates change, right? It's Twitter. Whatever letter of the alphabet Elon Musk wants to call it, that's on you, bro. I'm not calling it that. It's Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. I'll follow you back. That's an absolute promise. So, time out on the field. Got to move the chair for my buddy right here. Oh, what chair, pal? All right, okay. All right. He had a rough day today. We had to take him for his yearly checkup. He had to get a couple shots. Well, rabies shot and something else or whatever. So he had a rough day today. It's always a rough day anytime we got to go to the vet. So but he's pulling through like a champ, right? Good boy. And by the link just underneath it takes you to my Facebook group. All right. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. We have over 7,900 members in the group. It's really simply marvelous, might I add. Basically, if I'm alive and breathing, and if I have internet access, I'm putting stuff in this group darn near 365. And not only do I put stuff in this group, but the members post stuff in this group as well. So between me and the members, there's a boatload of New York Giants information going in this group every day. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. Please join it. You won't be dissatisfied. I promise. All right, but all that stuff said and done and out of the way with. Well, what do we got to talk about? Well, I'll tell you what. We're getting, we're getting close, right? It's kind of like the, I don't know what you want to call it, the night before Christmas or whatever. I mean, we got the tampering period in a couple of days. Man, woo! I mean, it's like, this, the Super Bowl, right? Then you got the underwear Olympics, and you got the free agents, the tampering period, and free agency, and and then the the draft, and toward the end of April and all that. Man, it just that's what I really really love. I mean, there's like the 1 month. What is it, from like middle of June to when training camp starts? If from middle of June to like middle of July, whatever it is, like that, kind of like that 1 month. But even then, you know what I mean? Because you know, you can take a month off, okay, whatever. But you know, once that 1 month, holy crap, is over with, it all starts all over again. Oh man, I freaking love it. I mean, because you're looking at this time, of the season. Right. And of course, there's no football going on and all that, but it's a huge, right? Who's coming, who's going. Of course, then you listen to all the podcasts and all the YouTube videos and all that stuff, all the draft experts, draft gurus and all that stuff. And some of these guys are absolutely freaking unbelievably phenomenal. I mean, 99% of them, they're so good. They're so knowledgeable. Once again, I say this all the time. They trade their lives for us, for a moron like me, right? Who I'm not watching film or nothing like that. But these guys trade their lives watching film, right? And they give us unfreaking believable, fantastic, amazing information on these guys. Like almost all of them, And it's just like this time of the season. I mean, even though, as I said, you try not to get too carried away with the mock drafts, because there's a new mock draft coming out every 32 seconds and all of that. And once I try not to get too carried away with, I'll try not to with the guys, maybe coming out in the draft on, because as I said, try to remember like 3.1%, right? Try to remember that number, right? Basically, Giants are one of 32 teams, right? So you go 32, 32, and 32. It's 96, right? So out of every 100 guys that are coming out in the draft, if you go about 1%, right? So every team's going to get 3.1% of the guys coming out in the draft. It's not a lot. So I mean, so when you're hearing all these guys, this guy and this guy, just remember, basically out of every 100, the Giants are going to get about 3.1%. About three out of every 100 players coming out of the draft, the Giants are going to get, right? But once again, that does not stop you from being, just thinking, right? All right, we could get the wide receiver in the first round if we not, depending on where we want to go with, you don't know what they're going with the quarterback, right? However, also free agency will let you know, that'll, because. Let's see. I don't know. Just pick maybe like a cornerback, right? If we go out or edge, right? There you go. Okay, or cornerback, edge or cornerback, right? If we go out, and we're going to be talking about edge here in a minute, but if they go out and get a upper echelon edge, well, then we're not quite possibly we're not looking, especially this season, because if we go out and get maybe an upper echelon edge in free agency, right? We might, if we grab an edge, it'll be day 3, not day 2. Yeah. Because if I'm just throwing a name, I'm just throwing a name out there, Huff. We're going to go over some guys in just a minute here, but just say we get Huff, which I really hope not too much, because he's kind of a situational kind of guy. What I've seen, I think he played in like 45% of the snaps last year, something. Yeah, I mean, it's not like a 3-down guy. It's like, all right, it's 3rd and 74. Okay, Huff, go in, baby. That's you, pal. They snap the ball, you run at the corner. Right? And he's very good at it. But that's what you're going to get. You're not going to get run support, right? But anyway. Just said he'd go after, and they get Huff. Okay, so now you got Kayvon and you got Huff, or maybe even on the early downs or whatever. Maybe you got Kayvon and you got Azeez, right? And then maybe give one of them a blow on 3rd down, something like that. Bring Huff in. So now you got You still got Tillman Fox. I'm sure you bring some other guys going to come in. We got maybe I think we might have Boogie Basham. But I'm saying if we in free agency we go out and get ourselves an upper echelon guy, don't look for a day 2 guy edge. Same thing with cornerback, right? Because we got Trey Hawkins, right? So we still got a couple guys, but if we go out in free agency, okay, and grab an upper echelon cornerback, and from here, there's some guys out there the Giants could get for number 2 cornerback, reasonably priced, okay. So if we get that, don't look for a day 2 cornerback either, right? So free agency is going to kind of show us where we're going to go, and also with especially with free agency, what do the Giants do? Do they go because some of it's kind of like it's the initial surge, right? That's when clubs are just straight up going girly world. Woo! You get an airplane and you get an airplane. You're just straight up just going crazy, right? Do the Giants do that with like one guy or so, or after that, or do they wait for the initial surge to calm down a little bit and then let the dust settle and all that and see who's still left, right? And then you bargain. You can. I don't want to say bargain basement shopping, but some of those guys might be a little more affordable. So it'll be interesting to see what the Giants do. But I mean, free agency will also let maybe a little bit where the Giants might wind up going, especially early on, maybe in the draft, right? That was the only thing I always just have a hard time, I mean, and they say because the guys want to know what the new teams are going to be on and all that with free agency. And it would be a hard time trying to get the draft to become like in February or something like that, especially with the combine and you want the pro days and all that. So the way they're situated, it is what it is, But I always have a hard time because I always thought, because you want to go out there, right, in the draft, right, and you want to grab the best, players available, right? That's what they say. Also, although sometimes, I think they lie a little bit, because well, the best, at pick whatever. Say you're picking 45, right, and you need a guard, right. Right. And when pick 45 rolls around, hey, you just happen to pick a guard. Hey, well, he was the best player available. Well, no, not really, because you have these 3 edge rushers. You got these 5 wide receivers that could be wide receivers 1. You got these other cornerbacks here. You still got this quarterback who might, so they're gonna lie. No, that punter, he was the best player available on the board in the 5th. No, he wasn't. So they lie. But I always thought because, take the best player available, right, in the draft, right, and then so you put them on your team, and then you have free agency. Because you got the draft, you take your 7 picks, plop them on your team. Okay, so all right, we just drafted these 7 guys. Okay, all right, so this is our team. So now we go out in free agency, right? So after we drafted these 7 best players available, okay, and we put them in place and all that, and okay, we're a little weak over here, we're a little weak over here, and we can use this. So then you go out in free agency, and you fill in the rest of your roster with free agency, because it's like, you go out in free agency, and right, you just say, you go out and you get yourself an upper. Let's just say we go out and get Danielle Hunter. I would love that. Kayvon, Danielle, sexy Dexy, and then maybe in the 2nd round or maybe the 3rd round, he gets a nice little stud. Because the Giants, if you go back to like 2000 with Cornelius Griffin, right, you go from there on up, over the like 20-year period of time, the Giants have done very nice with defensive tackles in the 2nd round. Now, of course, the Giants, right? Yeah. You get you get one of those guys. They're very nice. And after 4 years, it's like, get the fuck out of here. We'll get somebody. I mean, the draft them, develop them, and keep them, that kind of goes out the window with the defensive tackles, right? But I mean, they have done very, I mean, not so much Shane / Dable, because the time they've been here. But I mean, if you go back to 2000 for like whatever, I mean, you go back to Dalvin Tomlinson, you're not going to get a lot out of him, maybe from the pass rush, but he's a phenomenal athlete, right? Very good stout against the run. And, the one year they had Leo the Lion, they had Sexy Dexy and Dalvin there. That was a nice front wall there. So the Giants have had some success in day 2, shall we say, with defensive tackles. I'll tell you, if you got Danielle Hunter, Kayvon, right? I mean, Danielle Hunter's been around since I think George Washington, but I mean, the guy's not even 30 years old. I find that hard to believe, and the guy had a phenomenal season last year, and it would be back with the Godfather, right? The Godfather and Danielle, they know each other, right? But you get a defensive tackle and Leonard Williams or something like that. Nice front wall there. Whoo. And Danielle's certainly somebody, you got Kayvon. I mean, if they don't re-sign Kayvon, just close up, what is it, 1925 Giants Avenue, whatever, just close up shop and just sell the team, right? You got Sexy Dexy, you got Kayvon, it's going to be here for a while. You draft yourself a tackle, and I said, sign Danielle that for 1 year. I mean, sign for the 3. You got the 3 and the 2, right? 3-year deal, maybe get out after 2, if so be it. But that would be a nice front wall. But, the thing is, I said, it's like, if they go out and get themselves a nice edge, right? I mean, I was going to bring up guard for the situation, but we might need 2 guards. So if they went out and got themselves an upper echelon guard in free agency, which would be cool with that. And the nice thing about a mediocre kind of guard, it's not going to break the bank, unlike an edge. Okay. But I'm saying, if you go out and get Danielle Hunter, right? As I said, now you got Danielle, you have maybe Tobin Fox, Boogie Basham, you can even, I said, we still have Azeez Ojulari, right? I don't know if they're going to bring back Hottie or not. Who knows? But I mean, if you got him, then it kind of, so then when the draft rolls around, right, and say the second round rolls around, and like what happened to Azeez Ojulari, Azeez is on the board, where there's a real good edge rusher on the board, right? He could be the best player available, and you might, now we're going to take this other guy, because you went out in free agency and you got yourself an edge. Now, you can also look at it too, is that sometimes you just keep, like the Giants did back, 2007 or in 2000, you had like that with the NASCAR package. You just keep bringing in edge rushers, you could keep bringing in fresh bodies, I said, but that was always the one thing. There's always like a little, I thought you grab the best player available, right? Throw them on your team, and then with free agency, you sprinkle in free agents, because you don't want to be going stock wild crazy in free agency, right? I mean, that's not the best way to do it. I mean, look what happened to the Giants in 2016. Now, in 2016, we went, Jerry Reese went to Gurley World, brought in, spent out all this money, for Snacks and Olivier Vernon and Jack Rabbit, right? And it did work for 2016, but boy, I'll tell you, we took a dumper in 2017. Holy cow. But speaking of edge, all right, here we go. Edge rushers. Edge rusher eyed in free agency. New York has, but it just says, according to this report from Andrew Peters, this is a Bleacher Report, New York is hesitant to spend on top options. I don't know. I always, especially like with edge. I mean, some of these guys, it's always like, parents somebody, I hate saying Chase Young, but because it's like Chase / injury young. Yeah, I mean, because he had a couple of seasons there with just the injuries. If he can stay healthy, all right, maybe we're on to something here. But you're also looking at too, is that well, he's just a baby, right? He's young, no pun intended. But I'm not exactly sure what he might want as far as it might say in this article I'm going to read here. Not sure what his value would wind up being, but man, could you imagine Chase Young and Kayvon? Holy cow! And Sexy Dexy. Holy cow, Batman! Wow. It's like, I don't know. I mean, it's easy for me to spend the money, right? But it's like, man, if you want to go get yourself another home run hitter over here. Get two. You know what I'm saying? The thing is that, if you're going to go out and get like a Chase Young and sign him to a few years, you got Sexy Dexy, right? And let's not forget in a couple of years, Kayvon's going to want to get paid as well too. And the thing with that, what you'd hate would be, then you have to go sign Kayvon. And it's like, well, we're paying Sexy. We got to pay Kayvon. And then we got Chase Young over here, so we're going to have to let him go. I hate that. I hate that. That I hate. But let's see. As free agency approaches, the New York Giants are expected to pursue an edge rusher, though they are hesitant to spend on a top candidate on the market, per ESPN's Jordan Renan. Giants desperately want to add an edge rusher. Yes. Renan wrote, they're going to monitor the top of the market, i.e. Danielle Hunter, but aren't really looking to spend in that range, one source told ESPN at the Combine. But once again, take all this stuff with a grain of salt. But I can certainly see where Jordan's coming from as far as an edge rusher. Yes. Now, especially because, let's not forget, we're not talking Wink Martindale defense, right? We're talking Bowen defense, right? He likes to get pressure with the front four. And we want pressure from the four. Okay. We don't want, Kayvon over here and two guys pushing and another guy going to Mexico and coming from around from behind that don't float in Bowens. You get defense, you get pressure from the four, the pushing in, you get pressure from the middle, right? They kind of hopefully kind of contain the quarterback. There's none of this wrap around the back of the quarterback coming from the other side of and there's none of that, right? We just get so he wants obviously he wants to get pressure from the four, right? To contain the quarterback and all that. So, whoever's on the opposite side of Kayvon, it's going to be huge, right? I don't know. As I said, with Huff, he's like situational. Obviously, even if you put him in there situational and he gets you double-digit sacks, that's rather promising, right? But I'd like to get somebody who can be, more of a, also stop the run kind of guy as well too. But I mean, I said what Danielle did last season. I mean, if you realize, if you combine what Danielle did with what Kayvon did last season, you got almost 30 sacks between the two. I mean, and Danielle, my God, that guy's you just look at his body. It's like, Jesus, God, that guy's like a freaking Greek statue. I mean, just chiseled out of stone. I mean, the guy's just like breathing defensive lineman. I mean, man, what a freaking beast. And the guy seems like he's been around forever, too. It's freaking crazy. Heading into next week's free agency, the Giants have $41 million in cap space space per spot track. But of course, if they restructure like there's 3 contracts, actually there's 4, but I don't think they want to touch Daniel Jones's. It was kind of the way they didn't want to touch Leonard Williams' contract, right? But with Daniel Jones, I think that's a no-touch zone. But I think between a Carrot K, right, Sexy Dexy, and Andrew Thomas, if they do some restructuring there, maybe give another signing bonus or whatever, give them some more money now, take the signing bonus, spread it out over the rest of their contracts and all, they can free up quite possibly maybe another $30 million. Not bad. Not bad. It said, though, Renan noted they could free up more space if they restructure. Oh, I just went over that. Okay. Let's see here. While New York likely couldn't land top edge rushers like Hunter or Chase Young, I don't know why not. I don't know why not. I mean, if they restructure, the kind of they get up to about $70 million in cap space, and I'm sure there's other things they can do as well too. But you get up to $70 million. I just say I think I saw. Hold on, where are we at here? Is this it? Yeah, here we go. Edge rushers. I think Daniil was 21.67. I think that just changed, but basically he's 3 years, 21.67 average annual. So it'd be 3 years for $65 million with $40 million guaranteed. And I think I'll tell you what, the freaking guy's worth it, man. I'll tell you what. I mean, last year it looks like he slipped according to PFF. That's all I'm saying. He looks like he slipped the 28th, but still he had like 16 and a half sacks. But it says teams that run a 3-4 or a 4-3 could probably find a way to deploy Hunter effectively. And injury concerns of a few years ago seem like distant memories, right? He finished another season with 900 plus snaps, 70 plus quarterback pressures in double digits. I mean, Jesus Christmas. I mean, oh, come on. Get the freaking guy, man. I'd love to have him. My God. But I mean, last year he graded out a 78 by PFF. But the 2 seasons before, 2022, he graded out an 87.1. 2021, he graded out an 80.8. I mean, just, phenomenal numbers. But I'm saying if they say he's going to be 21.67 annually, right, Daniil Hunter, right? It's not the first year you're dishing out 21.67. You give him a sign-in bonus, right? So instead of 21.67, his first year cap hit might be 13, 14. Obviously, you're kicking a little money down the road, but the salary cap's going to go down, go up, right? And if you get rid of Daniel Jones, you'll be saving yourself some money next, So, but I mean, if you got $70 million in cap space, and you bring in Hunter, and it only costs you 13 or 14 off the cap, I mean, you can do that. You can do that, right? So, man, I would love to get him. Because it's just being an old-time fart. Growing up in the 70s, the Giants were right, but obviously in the 80s, there was times just in the 80s. I wanted a defense on the field. I want to see Lawrence Taylor. Let's see what's the defense going to do. I mean, I was almost pissed off when the offense was on the field. Right? I mean, it's like, come on, let's get the defense back on it, baby. And I don't know. Sometimes I just like to be. I mean, or going back like to 2007, right? When you had Tuck and Strahan and OC, right? I mean, right? Or fast forward to 2011, you had JPP, Tuck and OC, some of those NASCAR packages. I mean, let's get after the quarterback, baby, right? Let's see. The Giants could target quality starters like Espinoza, Huff, Van Ginkel, Uche, right? Or Leonard Floyd. Last season, New York's top edge rusher Kayvon had 50 tackles and 11 half sacks. Thibodeau will be entering the third year of a 4-year deal, $31.3 million contract in 2024. Playing opposite him last season was Azeez Ojulari, who had a down year with 16 tackles and 2.5 sacks in 11 games. Ojulari will be entering the final year of his contract. So adding some depth to the position will be a priority for the Giants. Obviously this is, a big year, for Azeez. Can he stay healthy? Can he be productive? Because this is his last season, and this might be for the Giants. Might be his last season. So, Edge options for the Giants is off season. So we got, they're talking about here, they got Bryce Huff. Once again, as I said, so Spot Track has his market value at just $9.2 million. I think that's a little low. They have 4-year deal for $36.9 million. Giants can certainly afford that. But I think he's going to be more than that. He recorded 67 pressures last season. 67 pressures and 10 sacks, 10 tackles for loss. 67 pressures and he's only going to get $9.2 million a season. I have a hard time believing that. He thrives up high, rushing high, and displays several counter moves to exploit tackles who attempt to gain depth in their drop to match his explosive. Huff has 134 career pressures, 17.5 sacks, and 17 tackles for loss. So the Giants are serious about adding legitimate edge help. Huff is a 25-year-old who fits exactly what New York wants to do. He wouldn't have to travel very far. That's true. Go from the Jets to the Giants. Denico Autry, right? That's another guy. 6'5", 285-pound edge. What? I'll tell you what. If you're talking, 6'5", 285 edge. Perfect. Absolutely freaking perfect. He's similar build to Jihad Ward, only a much more impactful pass rusher. Autry recorded 53 pressures and 11.5 sacks and 12 tackles for a loss last season. Right? He's recorded 54 pressures, 8 sacks, and 8 tackles for a loss in 2022. So, he, in the past 2 seasons, right, if my math is correct, that would be 107 pressures and 19.5 sacks in the past 2 seasons. Not bad, right? He comes from the Titans, where our defensive coordinator comes from, right? He played 67% of the Titans snaps last season. He's coming off a 3-year, $21.5 million contract. He averaged $7.2 million per year. The average per year would put him just behind Thibodeau, top 5 selection. But, it does here says he's also 33 years old. And he'll be 34 at the start of the season. So with somebody like him, certainly, without question, somebody you want to think about. But, is that where Shane wants to put his money? Meaning, we're not going to the Super Bowl this season. Newsflash. Giants aren't going to the Super Bowl. You kind of hope that if things go well this season with the draft, and you go next season with the draft, right? Maybe and next season we have some money sprinkling another nice free agent here or so. Maybe after next 2025, we're knocking on the door of that NFC title, right? Then then you can start seeing, does he want to go in and spend some money on somebody who's 34 years old who might only be here for a year or so? It could be interesting to see where he's going to spend his money. Or as I'm saying, do you want to, are we building for the future, compete now, but also build for the future, bring in some young guys, right, who you can sign for a couple of years, who might be here in a couple of years, okay, when we're knocking on the NFC East title door, right? Or do you want to bring in, somebody like Autry, who might be a good torch holder for maybe a year or so, because he's going to be 34. Now, obviously, you've seen those numbers I was just reading off. He's got some good production over the past couple of seasons, but somewhere along the line, he might start tailing off. So, is that something that Shane wants to do? Can be interesting to say. But once again, there are options out there. It's almost kind of like whatever flavor do you want, right? You want to, you got the Chase Young and the Hunter, right? And then you have guys underneath that, right? So, it's a Chase Young. What do they got here? What do we got? Does it say? Here we go. Spot Track has Young's calculated market value at $13 million on a 1-year deal. Basically, it's kind of like a prove it kind of deal, right? Come on in. Sit down, have a seat, brother. Come on in, 1-year deal. we'll give you 13. I'm not sure what they said the guaranteed was, but let's see what you got. Can you stay healthy? Right? Yeah. I'm saying the one problem is, if you do that on a 1-year deal with Chase Young, you bring him in and say he has 10 sacks, and you're like, and he stays relatively healthy. You're like, ooh, all right, I kind of like this guy. And let's sign him, for a couple, another, sign him for 2 or 3 years or so. But then that's going to overlap what you're going to be doing with Kayvon. So then you're going to have Kayvon wanting $25 million, and then you're going to be signing, can you have Sexy at 25, Thibodeau at 25, and Young at 20 or whatever? You know what I mean? That might be too much. Can you allocate that much money to the front wall? There's things you have to think about. Let's see here. It says the going rate for top edge defenders on the open market is above $20 million per year. 13 edge defenders make north of $20 million per year. Yeah. But also some of them too, is you also got to think about is some of the guys like a Bosa and stuff like that, they don't hit the open market. Then they got DJ, I guess it's Wanham from the Vikings. He was selected in the 4th round of the 2020 NFL draft by Minnesota out of South Carolina. He had a very good combine in 2020, and his size length made him a desirable target on early day 3. His broad jump was fantastic, vertical, his 40-yard dash, his hand size, his height, everything was really, really good. His bench press was not very impressive, and his weight is not very impressive. But it says when the Vikings drafted him, Andre Patterson called him his pet cat, and the veteran coach took a liking to the young player. Under Patterson's tutelage, Wanham recorded 64 pressures and 11 sacks in 2 seasons. So at just 26 years old, there's room for improvement and a ceiling that may not have been reached quite yet. So bringing somebody like him in, who Patterson got a liking to, he's young, he would be cheap. Maybe he got a little bit more of a ceiling to him. If you get maybe a little bit more out of him, bring him in for a couple-year deal on the cheap, might be worth taking a flyer on. Then you got Uche, right? From the Patriots, 25-year-old seemingly fell out of favor last year under Belichick. So, he only got 2.5 sacks last season. It did have 37 pressures, only 2.5 sacks, but he only played 33% of the snaps, mostly on passing situations. The issue in run defense are a problem that could preclude curiosity on the part of the Giants. However, Uche would thrive in a wide 9 system that allows him to leverage his natural explosiveness to challenge the tackle's angle up the arc. So, Spot Track calculates his market value at $8.3 million per season on a 2-year deal. So, there's different types of guys out there, right? So, regardless, the Giants definitely need, some edge rush, but it will be interesting to see where Shane allocates the money and how much he does. And, as I said, is he bringing a torch holder to somebody for a year or so? Or is he going to bring in somebody, who might be here for a couple of seasons to help, move forward with the team? Going to be interesting. As I said, especially, you look after this season, right? Are we keeping Azeez around? If we do, okay, it ain't going to be on a lot of money. And it's like, once again, after the season Azeez had last season, it's like, how much can you really depend on a production from him? I said it would be nice to have, 2 nice cornerstone, nice edge rushers. But, also, once again, let's not forget, a couple of years, Kayvon's going to want to get paid, and the man's going to make north of $20 million a season. So, all right, then we had, I'll tell you what, boy. You got to go, you got the J.J. McCarthy's. That story doesn't seem to be ending here. But then you have the Russell Wilson. Giants had an exploratory meeting with Russell Wilson ahead of the NFL free agency. apparently went pretty good. On the surface, it was an exploratory due diligence, which is true. I mean, that's what you want to do. That's why, you due diligence. That's why you talk to Caleb Williams, right? There's by almost no chance, in HE double hockey sticks, right? You getting Caleb Williams, but you do your due diligence. You talk to him, right? Same thing with Daniels and May. Same thing. Those three all might be gone, long gone before you come at number 6. But once again, you do your due diligence. Same thing with Russell Wilson, right? You're just doing your due diligence. After he was with the Giants, he went to as people. That's the hub. A lot of times is the Newark airport, right? They talk to the Giants, and then they go to the Newark airport, and they go elsewhere. Well, apparently, he was seen at the Newark airport, and he was heading out to Pittsburgh to have a talk there. The thing is they kind of seem like they want to run it through the ringer one more time with Pickett, give him another shot, one more season, right? And what Bill Parcells says, sometimes like, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks, so it does make it kind of tricky, because especially if quarterback number 1 struggles and you bring quarterback number 2 out on the field, right? And he saves the day and you come back from behind, well, what do you do the next week? Right? And you put quarterback number 1 out there who just struggled the week before, so you put him back in. So is the leash even shorter this time? And it can be a tough situation. Really, really can be a tough situation. So the thing is, Russell Wilson, the guy's been to 2 Super Bowls, should have won 2 Super Bowls. If Pete Carroll pulled his head out of his rear end, hey, we got this Marshawn Lynch guy back here. The Patriots haven't been stopping them all game. Why don't we're down to like, was it the 1 yard line or 2? That was the first down, second. Let's why don't we hand the ball off to this guy a couple of times? I'm gonna take a crack at it. They weren't stopping him, and I don't think they were going to stop him. Right? Why don't we just give him the ball a couple of times, see what might happen? You know what? Let's throw the ball. It is what it is, but that's one of those things you try to outthink yourself or whatever. But, so quite possibly, you got Russell Wilson, right? Possibly, he won 1. And not only won, they stampeded. They steamrolled the, Manning. I mean, it was ugly. That was one of the worst Super Bowls. That was probably worse than the Giants when they lost to the Ravens, because that was 34-7. I mean, that was really sad. That was a tough game to watch, especially because you were a Giant fan. But Seattle they just decimated Manning, in that game. That was an ugly Super Bowl. But I said, you got the guy, Wilson. Let's not forget, Table's a pretty intelligent kind of guy, right? I mean, how many games we win with Tommy Chicken Cutlet Parmesan, right? And we should have won another one. I mean, the one with the Jets, we just straight up blew that one. I mean, anyway. But, so he seems like he can get the best out of a quarterback, right? And he maybe put him in best situation and all of that. I mean, it's, he throws a nice deep ball. Like maybe if we drafted Dunze, right? Right, the big guy, right? Put him out wide, right? The problem once again is that you got. It's like, hey, go out there and battle it out. Best guy wins, right? If Russell Wilson wins the job, we got him on a 1-year deal, 1.2, like probably a veteran minimum deal, right? And then you sit Daniel Jones, right? And then, after this season, you say bye-bye to Daniel Jones, right? So, but let's see here. Given the quarterback situation, to put it mildly, is in a flux. Why not have a look? Why not kick the tires on him? And starter Daniel Jones is coming off his torn ACL, and his status for the start of the season is still in question. Jones veteran backup Tyrod Taylor isn't injury prone as Jones is. Yep. And he's also a free agent who may or may not be re-signed. Now, it's not, forget, if you bring in Russell Wilson, right, he's going to be cheaper, okay, than Tyrod Taylor, especially if you sign him for a league minimum, right? Because the Broncos, who are eating, I think, $3.7 trillion in dead cap money, they're paying his salary this season, right? Then you got Tommy Tick and Cutler Parmesan, the undrafted free agent and New Jersey native who crafted a neat local boy makes good story in 2023. And finally, then there's the quarterback the Giants may or may not select in the first round of next year's draft, as they've been linked to J.J. McCarthy at the number 6 overall pick. A little bit more on him in just a minute, Mr. McCarthy. He's one of those stories that is just not going away. So Wilson, who's set to be released by the Broncos, met with the Giants on Thursday morning before reportedly going on to visit the Steelers. The Broncos, who are finished with Wilson and will release him Wednesday at the start of the new league year, gave the quarterback permission to meet with teams ahead of Monday's free agency tampering period. A Wilson union with the Giants is unlikely given the circumstances, with the Giants publicly committing to Jones as their starter in 2024 when he's healthy. When? Wilson wants to be a starter, which he's been for his entire 12-year career. So why would Wilson want to come to the Giants and serve as a placeholder for Jones until he's healthy enough to play? Well, herein lies a compelling question, though. Does any team really want to commit to Wilson as its starter in 2024, given how badly things went for him in Denver the past 2 seasons? Which is true. Maybe Wilson won't have a choice but to swallow his pride, join a team as a backup, and earn his way back into the starting job. Now, I mean, if he's all that and a bag of chips, right, he'll beat out Daniel Jones. For the Giants, if Wilson were to come to them willing to begin as a backup with the chance to compete for the starting job, it might not be a bad acquisition given his experience and given how poor their quarterback situation was in 2023. There isn't a more polarizing and confounding figure in the NFL than Wilson at the moment. He's had a decorated career, which includes a Super Bowl title and nine Pro Bowls. Not too shabby. He is a winner in each of his first 9 seasons before things began to go south in 2021, his final season in Seattle, and then worse in Denver, where his reputation has been taking a beating. Yep. Since 2021, Wilson has endured 2 miserable seasons in Denver, where he went 4-11 in 2023 and 7-8 last season before being benched for the final 2 games of the season after refusing to change the injury guarantees built into his contract. Ooh, okay. The weird element to last season is that Wilson threw 26 touchdown passes and only 8 interceptions. Jones, in his 5 NFL seasons, has never delivered numbers that good. Well, his rookie season, Jones was 24-12, and that was only in 12 games, right? 12 starts. Wilson had some spectacular seasons, throwing 40 touchdowns and 13 interceptions and throwing for 4,212 yards in 2020. Now, it's also, I forget, he had some real good receivers to throw the ball to, right? I mean, let's give the dude Robinson, right? I got Slayton, put Hyatt out there. Let's get him a Dunze. Hey, if Waller comes back, right? I mean, that's a nice security blanket to throw the ball to, right? I mean, I don't know if we're going to be bringing Saquon back, but you can certainly go out in the free agency and bring in a nice running back. There's some nice cheap running backs out there you can bring in who might do a decent job. Let's give the dude some weapons. Another thing, as I said, go out there in free agency because you probably need 2 guards, right? Let's go out in free agency and get him a guard. And then maybe in the second round, if we're not going to do something in the first round, and in the second round, I'm saying, draft another guard with some type of or bring in Illuminor, right, from the Raiders, right, who might be he wants to be a starter. So maybe you wind up kicking Neal in, right? Or you go out and, as I said, draft a guard or something. We can come close to maybe to fixing this offensive line. Right? I mean, I said, give Wilson some weapons. Like I said, you gave him some weapons in Seattle. Look what he did. So, Dable ain't a dummy. He might be hot-headed, and he's got some issues. Everybody's got issues, right? Yeah. Right? So being hot-headed is one of them. But, he's pretty good with quarterbacks, right? Pretty good with quarterbacks. So, yeah. Do I think it's going to happen? No, because I think there are other teams out there that could certainly, especially for $1.2 million, bring somebody like him in. It's like, yeah, see what you got. Kick the tires on you if you want. Hey, if you do good this season, here you go. Here are the keys to the Ferrari. We'll see what you got, right? Just because he had a couple miserable seasons with Sean Payton in the Broncos, does that mean he's unbelievably horrible and he stinks and he'll never throw another touchdown pass? No. Maybe the situation wasn't right there. It does, things don't always work out in every situation, right? Things worked out well for the most part in Seattle, right? But with Peyton, they didn't. It is what it is. All right, then what do we got? Oh, then this here, they got the McCarthy. This is from Inside the Vikings from Sports Illustrated. The Vikings may have to leap the Giants at number 6 to land J.J. McCarthy. Now, this is the guy that's, usually it's like, every year there's always at least one guy who was, going to be like a 37th round pick, and all of a sudden he just shooting up. It's like, oh my God, this guy, he could be the greatest quarterback or wide receiver of all time. Oh my goodness, great. He could be the number one, Well, it seems like it's McCarthy. Now, of course, it was a couple of people on. Everybody's got, everybody has an opinion, right? A couple of people were bashing him, okay, he's a winner. Okay, yeah. So, so some people not really thrilled with him. Other people, he's just shooting up the boards. Other people think he's really good. So, who knows? We'll have to wait and see. He did impress though at the combine now, but I think he's the guy this season, right? I think he's winning so far as their guy shooting up the draft boards. And, of course, he's been linked to the Giants because, quite possibly the Giants may not be able to get Daniels, May, or Williams unless they're willing to trade up and give up like 3 second-round picks, maybe to trade with the Patriots if the Patriots are going to trade. But I'm saying, so you're going to give up your first-round pick and 3 seconds. That's basically, quite possibly, that's 4 starters you got to give up to get whoever, May or Daniels, whoever the third quarterback would wind up being. But so McCarthy, not making it out of the first round. Probably won't even make it out of the top half of the first round. Because if you look, right, he's got some quarterback needy teams out here. We are okay. So we got those. It's not forget about the Falcons, but I keep hearing the Falcons and Kirk Cousins. I keep hearing that quite a bit. So we'll have to wait and see. But the Falcons at number 8. The Bears, they got picked number 1 and 9. Now, it's just, it's with them. It's a shame. Well, that they couldn't, because if they were like, I'll tell you what, let's build around this Justin Fields. Let's see what we got. Could you imagine they got picked 9? And then then they get on the loudspeaker and they just, in the middle of the combine. Hi, we're the Chicago Bears. We're open for business at pick 1. Give us a call. 867-5309. Just give me a call, baby. Right? Could you imagine how many picks they could get? first overall pick for some Caleb Williams. Oh, man, it's like back up the brink trucks and just start throwing the first-round picks in there. Oh, okay. Yeah. 4 first-round picks and 7 second. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. Man, could you imagine the picks they can get? And they got pick number 9. Holy cow, Batman. Oh, my goodness. I mean, they could easily get, turn the first-round pick, the number 1 overall pick, probably easily into 4 starters. Oh, yeah. And then they got pick number 9. Oh, my God. Wow. I mean, you want to try to rebuild the team? There you go. But I said, so you got the Falcons are number 8. Of course, the Jets now, but then you got the trifecta right here, right? You got the sorry, buddy. Right, pal. Don't want to wake him. He's taking a nap. You got the Vikings, you got the Broncos, and you got the Raiders, right? 3 teams in a row going to be looking for a quarterback. Then you got the Saints. They got Carr, right? Then you got the Colts. No. You got the Seahawks. Nope. They got Geno. You got the Jaguars, right? Nope. Not looking for a quarterback. You got the Bengals. Nope. Not looking for a quarterback. You got the Rams. You got the Steelers, right? But they were talking about, they might run it through one more year, right? Before they might think about maybe looking for a quarterback. So, but from 8 to 13. Now, of course, it doesn't mean what, I said, if somebody were to sign Kirk Cousins, that would maybe take one of these teams out of the running, right? But from basically 8 to 13, you got 4 teams in there that needs a quarterback, right? And let's not also forget about the Giants, because you don't know, what they're thinking, right? So they want to go whatever wide receiver at pick 6, and maybe draft like the Rattle Man, right? Maybe in the 3rd round or something like that. Or Bo Nix going to be there in the 2nd round for the Giants. I mean, I heard a lot of nice things about Penix. A lot of nice things about him. Nice ball, beautiful, this, that, and the other thing. But his middle name is injuries, right? Now, I think he checked out. I think the medicals all seemed to be okay and everything. But, I mean, I think it was like 3 or 4 season-ending injuries. I mean, they might still, everything might have healed and this, that, and the other thing. But, as Jimmy Johnson said and many other people, injured players get injured. And, I mean, if you had like 3 season-ending injuries in college, I mean, that's, I don't know. That I don't know, especially if it's your quarterback and you're going to wind up dishing out possibly big bucks for him. I don't know. But McCarthy, it says here, from Giants, might have to jump the Giants. So the Vikings might have to go from 11. I don't know what that would cost to go from 11 to say they would have to trade up with the Chargers, right? I mean, I'd have a hard. I don't know. I mean, if the Patriots are open for business, I'd have a hard time thinking that the Cardinals could quite possibly maybe be open for business if they're going to keep Murray. The thing is, the pass on Harrison Jr. Just what I'm hearing, we're talking, he's very nice. To pass on him. I don't know if they'd want to jump back to number 11. Now they got issues. They need some people, right? So to pick up, 3 picks or so, whatever, maybe get 3 starters for 1. But if you're going to keep Murray, you want to give him somebody to throw the ball to, right? Harrison Jr. You got to have playmakers on your team. So is it worthwhile to drop back to 11 or 12 or 13 and you get 3 starters? Or do you want 1 playmaker? Might be hard might be hard. So the, I don't know if the Vikings, if they were going to jump up, they might have to jump up to maybe number 5 and see what the Chargers are thinking. Right. Because the Chargers, they could use some people, right? So it wouldn't be bad. It might behoove them to fall back and collect some picks. But let's see. Michigan quarterback J.J. McCarthy's stock has seemingly risen enough over the past month or so that the question isn't whether or not the Vikings should take him at 11th overall. It's how high they'll have to go to get him if he's their guy. Due to the demand for the quarterbacks, buzz about the NFL being high on McCarthy and his solid showing at the combine, yes, it was, it's no longer feels safe or maybe even realistic at all to assume that he'll be on the board if the Vikings stand put at 11. Even if Caleb Williams, Drake May, and Jaden Daniels go in the top 3 picks, there are a couple other teams in the top 10 who could be interested in drafting a quarterback, plus several others who could look to trade up. Absolutely. I mean, it's not. If you feel, he's your man, you go get the guy. You don't say, well, we'll just sit here and we'll wait for McCarthy to fall to us at number 13. That's our guy. No, you go get him. And number 8, the Falcons are currently in the quarterback market, though they could change if they sign Kirk Cousins next week. Right behind the Vikings, the Broncos and the Raiders are at 12 and 13, are lurking as teams who could try to trade up for McCarthy. But the real team to watch here might be the Giants at number 6. I always wanted to do that. Yes, the Giants have Daniel Jones under contract for 3 more expensive years. But Jones followed up his breakout 2022 season by getting injured last year after struggling mightily across 6 games. New York can get out of that deal without a ridiculous amount of dead money next season, so this might be the time to look for a new quarterback for the Giants. Jones' ceiling and injury history are real concerns for the Giants. Yep. On that note, buzz is increasing about the Giants being a team to watch for McCarthy at number 6. There were more than a few rumblings at the combine tying McCarthy to the Giants, wrote Connor Hughes of SNY this week. It became very clear in Indianapolis that GM Joe Schoen is ready to draft his guy, either at number 6 or by trading up. Interesting. Now, as I said, if they were to do something like that, you can, without question, the Giants could certainly. Now, if if they're going to trade up, they're going to be giving up some of those second-round picks, if not both of them, or at least one of them. But if for some reason they were to stay put at 6 and McCarthy fell to them, and if they wanted to take that, they can certainly get a very good wide receiver in the second round. And they could certainly get a very good offensive lineman in the second round as well, too. So they could get maybe their quarterback for the future, another really good wide receiver, and somebody that they can put right into the offensive line. Might be a plug-and-play starter at guard or something like that, though. You know what I mean? So let's not forget. I mean, unfortunately, it's not really working out that well with Neal so far. Let's hope we can find Brasillo can find some place for this guy to play. And let's hope he can stay healthy. But if you look at the Giants were to take somebody, say, early on in the second round, somebody maybe a guard, maybe a plug-and-play guard, right? What have they done in 3 seasons? Well, they drafted Neal. If we can find someplace for him to go, he could be a plus, right? Then last season was John Michael Schmitz, and then this season might be a guard, right? So each year they're adding a little pieces to the puzzle. We got Andrew Thomas. Each year they're adding a little pieces to the puzzle. And let's not forget, maybe in free agency, they can go out and get themselves a guard. Somebody that can get themselves a very decent guard, or they can get 1 or 2 guys, but they can get themselves a very decent guard who won't break the bank. We're not talking maybe a future Hall of Famer here or nothing, but you can get yourself a very good guard who you can plug and play, who won't break the bank. Right? I said, and then in the draft, in the early rounds, maybe you pick up somebody else and you might have your 2 guards situated. And, and then we'll have to wait and see what they wind up doing with what Brasillo thinks we can do with Neal. Right? But I'd be shocked if that during camp and all that, if Brasillo does not have Neal playing at multiple positions, right? It says in that case, And if the Vikings believe McCarthy is their guy, they may have to go all the way up to number 5 to land him. The Chargers, who are picking 5th, are set at quarterback with Justin Herbert. In a draft loaded with offensive studs, could they be talked out of taking Joe Alt or Malik Neighbors and into move down to number 11, where they'll still have plenty of good options? Well, it's possible. The Vikings offer probably starts with a second-round pick and a day 3 pick. I don't know, a day 3 pick. So they would have to, they're going to go from, where the hell are they at? 11. They're 11. So for them to go to 11 to 5, they'd have to give up pick 11. Nah, I'd have a hard time believing that. No, absolutely freaking not. No, absolutely freaking not. The Chargers are going to go from 5 back to 11, and they're basically going to pick up a second-round pick. No. And a day 3 pick, like a 5th rounder or something like that. Nah, I'd have a hard time believing that. I think you have to spice that up a little bit more. Yeah. Especially because they're going from 11 to 5. They're not going from 11 to 5 to pick a punter. You go from 11 all the way up to 5. Who are you going after? Quarterback. That's when the price goes up, right? It's like when you were at the Super Bowl and I seen his videos, 2 people, God bless them. I really feel sorry. And anybody who went to the Super Bowl, I really feel sorry. They bought themselves a Pepsi. Maybe it was a 20-ounce Pepsi and a Gatorade. It was like a 20-ounce Gatorade. They put the 2 bottles down. They were the same size. So maybe a 20-ounce Gatorade and $23, $11.50 for a 20-ounce Pepsi. Are you kidding me? I mean, the people, they were getting raped. Why? Because it was the Super Bowl. So everybody in the area, everybody in the area raised their, like they multiplied the price of the bottle of Pepsi by like about 1,800. I mean, $11.50 for a bottle of Pepsi. Absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, it's kind of like that. The people go to the Super Bowl, you can rape them. Because because it's the Super Bowl, so you can jack up the prices on everything. But it's the same thing when somebody's going up. I mean, if you're trading in the second round or something or like what the Giants did last season in the 3rd round, right? To jump up and get Jalen Hyatt, that didn't mean they were jumping up to get a quarterback. People trade up and back and all that stuff and everything, right? It's not always for a quarterback, so you're never sure. But if you're going from 11 to 5, you're not, as I said, you're not jumping up from 11 to 5 to grab a punter. It's for a quarterback, right? So the price goes up a little bit. Let's see. It says Minnesota could be fine with landing Michael Penix Jr. Yeah, that they could, absolutely. Or Bo Nix, but if Kevin O'Connell and company want McCarthy, they may have to pay the Chargers price and jump the Giants, which is true. I mean, you don't know. I mean, that's you don't know. I mean, you hate to be hate to have the Chargers on the board, and you're kind of like, oh, what are the Giants, and then the Chargers take their pick, and that's the Giants, and I mean, when it comes to a quarterback. But once again, everybody's got to have conviction. This is our guy. This is him, right? If we got to bite the bullet for a year or so with the draft picks and all that, okay, this is our guy. Let's get him in there. We have to have him sit a year or whatever, but this is our guy. This is going with forward. This guy could work. This could be the next guy for the next 10 or 15 years. This guy could be our quarterback, right? Don't sit there and wait for him. You go get him. Because as the Giants have seen, right? People jump in front of you and grab your picks. So anyway, the last thing here is the Giants. No comp picks for you. So Giants won't receive any compensatory picks in the 2024 draft. We might, obviously next season we might. It all depends. There's a formula out there. I don't even know if anybody knows exactly what the formula is, but there's a formula out there. Basically, it's, kind of in a way, right? It's like, who do you sign in free agency and who do you lose in free agency, right? It's not only so much that, but it's also, who do you sign and what are the contracts that you sign them for, right? And who do you lose and what are those contracts? I'm saying, but you're looking at, right? We could lose Tyrod Taylor, Isaiah Simmons, Adoree Jackson, Saquon Barkley, Xavier McKinney. Yeah, so we could be losing, some guys. We had some a couple offensive linemen we can be losing, and so we some guys we're losing. So but we do have some money, and I'd be shocked if we don't go out and buy do a little spending in free agency. So it might have to wait and see. But the Giants next season might wind up with a pick or so, which would be nice. Even if it's like, say, a 6th-round pick or something, it's better than nothing, right? That's what you like about the guy. I kind of like that. I do like, because when you lose guys in free agency because you can't afford to keep them, whatever it is, it's nice to see that you might get a little something in return for that. I do like. Sorry, buddy. As expected, the Giants were not awarded any compensatory picks in the 2024 NFL Draft. Compensatory picks are awarded in rounds 3 to 7 based on a complicated formula involving salary, playing time. I forgot about playing time, postseason honors. Ooh, okay. The NFL awarded 34 compensatory picks this year, including 2 special selections that were awarded at the end of the 3rd round to the teams, the Rams and the 49ers, that have had a minority employee hired as a head coach or primary football executive by another club. Oh, okay. Giants lost 2 free agents who qualified to be included in the compensatory formula, Julian Love and Nick Gates. But the Giants signed 4 such free agents, Bobby Okereke, A'Shawn Robinson, Paris Campbell, and Nunez Roches. So basically the 4 that they signed kind of wipe out the 2 that they lost. So the Giants have pick 6, 39, and 47, and 70. So we got 4 picks in the top 70. And then I said, even looking like that, you go to round 4, we got pick 108. Round 5, 140. So we got 6 picks out of the top 140. But we got 4 in the top 70. That's nice. But the picks 39 and 47, we should find. Hopefully, if we can find starters, those 2 second-round pick starters. And I said, then but we should be able to get a couple guys in free agency to help us be starters. But then you also got to figure out it's going to be offset by the fact we're losing some guys as well too. So it is what it is. But a couple days, guys. Free agency is here, baby. Whee! Gotta love it. All right, guys, it's been 1 hour and 13 minutes. Whoever spent any time listening to me live, thank you. Or if anybody's going to spend any time listening to the replay of this or watching the replay of this, thank you so much. From the bottom of my heart, it means the world to me. Thank you. As always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo! Oh, yeah.